She didn't really rate Bill English as the boss, still stoically denies any personal leadership aspirations, and by the way, don't call her Judy. The book Pull No Punches by MP Judith Collins is due out later this week and gives some insights into backroom National Party goings-on. I asked the MP of 18 years if the release of her book now is threatening to take the limelight off her new leader.
The date of when it's launched is up to the publisher, and I delivered the manuscript at the end of January. It's the first time I've written a book, and from my point of view, it's like I just gave the publishing to the publishers, and so I'm the dream author for them because I didn't get in the way. They were doing that role. It's also important that hopefully people will see it as a very positive book, and it's actually not, yes, it's got politics in it, but a lot of it is actually about my family, my journey, and it's also about, a lot of it's about resilience. It's a really positive thing. People often say to me, how do you keep going? How did you keep going? Well, that book tells people how I keep going.
Don't undersell it, Judith. It's got politics in it.
It's got a bit of politics.
We're going to get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But did you give Todd Muller an advance copy, and did you give his new PR team an advance copy?
He doesn't have an advance copy. And
has he read it?
No, but I'm sure he will. And he's very relaxed. I told him what was in it, pretty much, and he's very relaxed about it.
OK, well, let's talk about leadership. You, in the book, say that National has a reputation for removing any leader who fails at an election. So is Todd Muller likely to get one crack at it and that's it?
No, I think he's likely to win. I'm very positive about his chances and our chances. I really enjoy working with Todd and Nikki, actually, because we've...
More so than your past leader?
I think that we get along very well. And I think one
better
of the issues,
than the immediate past leader.
Yeah, actually, I want to be part of a team where I'm valued, and that I'm able to do what I need to do, and that role is, and I feel very comfortable. I've actually dealt with a lot of leaders in the past, and I find Todd and Nikki actually a very nice leadership team, actually one of the best.
Were you valued as much by the previous leader?
Well, you'd have to ask him. But I think that I feel more comfortable where we are.
OK. So, talking of leaders, did you rate Bill English as a leader?
No, I think Bill's best role, was as Deputy Prime Minister and as Finance Minister. I think he was outstanding in those roles. But I think as leader, it wasn't as good as, say, others were. I mean, John Key was an outstanding leader.
So what qualities was Bill English missing that a good leader needs?
Well, I think a good leader needs to be able to make decisions. And sometimes those decisions are going to be painful for people, and sometimes they're going to be great for everybody. But whatever it is, you need to know what you're dealing with. And I think Bill always struggled to do that.
Was he too much of a ditherer for you?
Well, I would call him that. I think he's... I think his best roles, as I said, were as Deputy and as Finance Minister, and I think he was extremely good in those.
Because in the book you compare him to Don Brash, obviously during the leadership challenge, and you say that Don was decisive.
Yes.
Which infers that Bill was not.
Well, you might well think that. I think that Don brought some very skilled decision-making, even where those decisions were not universally liked, and there were downsides to those decisions. But I personally prefer to deal with a leader who can make decisions and then live by them.
Because there's an interesting bit which is sort of applicable in the here and now as well. You say that Don Brash personally called you and asked for your vote in the leadership. Bill English got an underling to do the job for you, to give you a bell to ask how you were going to vote. So, did Todd Muller and Simon Bridges both call you personally to ask for your vote?
Well, that would be telling stories, wouldn't it? But let's put it this way.
But that's what we're here for today, Judith, is to tell some stories.
That's the next book. That's the next book, Lisa. I think that...
Well, Todd...
look, I've worked very closely with both and talked very closely with both Simon Bridges and Todd Muller during the leadership change. And I'm very happy with the result that we have.
So did you vote for him?
Well, I did. Yeah.
So did he ring personally and ask for your vote, and did Simon Bridges?
I'm telling you, I talked to both of them.
You say the National Party needs to learn to count And by that, you're talking 1, 2, 3, 4. We need to understand we are only in office if support parties are able to get there too. Well, the numbers simply don't add up at the moment for the National Party. So who could be your friends politically? ACT's not...
ACT's doing much better now.
It's doing much better, but still combined together, you're nowhere near the numbers
Just
you
again,
need.
wait and see. I mean, I've written this from the point of view of this is not about this next election. It's very much
but
about
it's applicable to this
Well,
election.
you can, if you think I'm right, if you agree with me that these are things that people need to think about, it is something. And it's not like, this is not a surprise to my colleagues because we talk about these things all the time, just like every other political party in Parliament does.
Is there time for you to take over the leadership of the party before the election?
I'm not interested in doing that. I'm very happy doing what I'm doing and being a valued member of the team. That's what I want to be.
So, in terms of the numbers and getting back into government, would you rather work with Winston Peters than be in opposition?
It's not up to me, is it, Lisa?
Well, you're part of the party.
Yes,
so
I am part of the party and I'm part of the team. And so the caucus has made it very clear.
Do you think you should re-explore that?
Well, it's not up to me. I'm not the leader. The leader needs to
You know
discuss
this book
these things,
this
not
is
me.
called Pull No Punches,
Yes,
don't
well,
you?
it's probably the odd one that is pulled.
Right, it's called Pull No Punches. So come on, give us a straight answer on
look,
this
I'm
one.
just going to blame the publicists on
You
that.
You say National needs to do the numbers, and clearly you don't have as many friends as you need politically to take back power. So one option is Winston Peters, potentially. Would you rather work with Winston than be out in the cold in opposition?
It's not a matter for me, Lisa. I'm simply stating the facts. People need to work it out themselves. And the party...
What do you mean by that? People need to work it out themselves?
People need to understand that if they give a vote to one party, it doesn't necessarily help us. So they need to work out if we get our numbers keep going up as they are at the moment, and I can feel after all these years how we're polling without the polling happening. I thought we'd be in the late 30s. We're 38 in the last Colmar-Brunton poll. We are moving up, and I think that we need to be. I'm very focused on the National Party numbers, as is the leader. Look, these are not a matter for me to make a decision on. These are a matter for the caucus and the leader. I'm happy just having my views in that caucus room, not out here.
Does anyone call you Judy?
No. No.